Welcome, truthers and truth-curious mainstreamers. This is Poe's Law with me, Charlatan Poe. The more of these I do, the more kind of paranoid I feel like I'm getting. The more I feel like what I've discovered is being noticed, which is good because it means the truth is getting out, but it also means that whoever is working against us has more chances or a greater likelihood of finding me. That's if I'm not post-erasure and just talking to myself. I don't know for sure that incident that happened a while ago, I don't know how long ago now, when I lost time. I don't know for sure that I recovered from that or where I'm at since then, which is weird to say because I don't know exactly where I was before. Thinking about not knowing where I am now really just lays out the groundwork to realize there's no groundwork. Which is an answer to another question that I've been getting a lot from, I know I'm supposed to stay out of the comments, but in looking through the comments there's been some questions on why I don't say when I'm recording, and it's because date time is just a convention, number one, and number two, I don't know after the fact what kind of deep fakes are going back to censor this. I don't know what you're seeing is the same as what I'm recording, so I just kind of feel like there's not a lot of point to putting something arbitrary like a date time on the recording. I don't remember if we switched from like Gregorian to Julian, or no, it's Julian to Gregorian calendar. We switched at some point, and in order to make the conversion, we just erased some days. There's a handful of like lost days from history where we just decided, nope, this is the date now, collectively. We just threw the other dates in the garbage or something. And that, I don't know how many of you are in daylight savings time still, but we have it in Michigan, and every year it's this strange moment where we collectively take for granted that we're just making up the clock, where we just decide, nope, the number that we all live our lives by that determines when you're late to work and not, that number, we're just making it up, it's a different number now, and then 6 months later we switch it back, or 4 months later, or whatever it is. So that's why I don't date when I'm recording. Thinking about dates, so since realizing that the Guy Fawkes 5th of November connection and how far back this might go, it's got me thinking back in my own timeline, or at least as best as I can remember it. Glasses are fucking up. And I remember some years ago at the 4th of July festival, or it might have been the summer solstice. I remember it was close to then because it was like this weird time in the impulse section at Target where you walk in and there's leftover patriotic stuff from Memorial Day and a new wave of patriotic stuff for 4th of July coming up. And mixed into it was a bunch of Father's Day merchandise, and further confusing this message was a bunch of merchandise for Pride. So, early to mid-June, right around then, it might have been as late as 4th of July. No one entered, so it must have been 4th of July, because there was a big festival at the farmer's market, and no one entered the pie eating competition. It was blueberry pie that year, which is usually a crowd favorite, and they had 0 entries to the pie eating competition. I thought it was strange at the time, but looking back, I feel like that maybe was more significant, that maybe was, change was gradual, and then that was just the final tipping point, and then maybe since then, everything's been different. By itself, that might not seem that important, but right around then too, I was sitting on, there's this corner coffee shop, and I was there with a friend, and it was like street performer night, and the horse broke free from the hansom cab. Suddenly we're sitting there having a conversation, and then this horse just gallops down Main Street. Big Clydesdale, big horse, full speed, galloping, people, families everywhere. It's a dangerous situation, which explains why a moment later, a full posse, I don't really know the exact number you need to reach an official posse, but just at a glance, they had passed that number. Racing, just charging, yelling down the road after this horse to recapture it. We go back to our conversation. Wow, that was out of the ordinary. And then later, come to find out, they had captured the horse again, not a very long time. It had just run its normal hansom cab route. One of those moments where you realize that even sometimes when you get free of whatever it is that's holding you back, you just fall on those same habits, and you feel like freedom is running the same track that you've always been running, but with a new perspective. And I guess in a sense it might be, but to what degree? And thinking about the hansom cab horse and the pie eating competition that wasn't, now that I'm in this time drop conspiracy and trying to keep my head down but still get the word out about the demon dog cabal, I feel like maybe the universe has always been grooming me to be in this role. Everything happens for a reason, and nothing is what it seems. Like everything seems to have a greater significance if you just look at it. So, had a lot going on, still not sleeping super well, hence the afternoon coffee. Still working on time drop number 2, working those breadcrumbs, trying to put something or some kind of understanding together. I have a couple of theories, but I want to find something to corroborate them a little bit. before I put it out there. I appreciate all of your ideas. I'm definitely taking them under advisement. This afternoon, though, the biggest reason I wanted to get out here is just to get a kind of power up. And I reached out to my shaman and asked her what might be a good thing to do in this situation. And she told me to chant the 118 names of God. Again, just gotta trust her. She's been right so far. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna chant the 118 names of God. I thought light a candle. I don't need a full circle of protection for this one because I guess the name of God, the names of God themselves have a power that will just lend itself to keeping this protected. So we've got our candle, and then ring the bell 3 times. That one when I picked it up didn't count. Alright. So I printed out the list she sent me, and as I was looking it over, I realized 118 names of God. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 8 is 10, which is what? 1 and 0, which is what? Those messages are everywhere. So 118 names of God and binary, the language of our digital age, connected directly to the 118 names of God. And as above, so below. Here we are. And I guess give this a try. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon, potassium, calcium, scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc, gallium, germanium, arsenic, selenium, bromine, krypton, rubidium, strontium, yttrium, zirconium, niobium, molybdenum, Technetium, ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, silver, cadmium, indium, tin, antimony, tellurium, iodine, xenon, cesium, barium, lanthanum, cerium, praseodymium, neodymium, promethium, samarium, europium, gadolinium, terbium, dysprosium, holmium, erbium, thulium, terbium, lutetium, hafnium, tantalum, tungsten, rhenium, osmium, iridium, platinum, gold, mercury, thallium, lead, bismuth, polonium, astatine, radon, francium, radium, actinium, thorium, protactinium, uranium, neptunium, plutonium, americium, curium, berkelium, californium, einsteinium, fermium, mendeleevium, nobelium, lawrencium, rutherfordium, dubnium, seaborgium, borium, hassium, meitnerium, darmstadtium, Röntgenium, Copernicium, Nihonium, Flerovium, Moscovium, Livermorium, Tennessine, Oganesson. The glass of my candles like or threatening to explode because of the temperature difference out here versus the flame or the heat of the wax. It's really expecting my foot to just light the fuck on fire while I was doing that and really get some special effects, but it seemed like it worked itself out. I do feel powered up. I'm just gonna put this. So, as I was getting powered up, I remembered another thing that I wanted to bring up, just to see if anybody else has noticed this. And this might just be that this was like first snowfall of the year. It's turned into rain/hail now, but looking at some satellite images, it looks like the caribou migration is not going to come through here this year. And they usually do. There's a power line easement just along the back of the trailer park that usually there's something we look forward to every year. There's just thousands and thousands of caribou, so we sit out back and you can just watch them go by, and it's like this living river. If you're lucky, sometimes there'll be some like coyotes and wolves kind of along there too, so you gotta make sure that you're not too close, and you keep. Bear spray actually works for wolves too if you want something non-lethal. So, but you can, on the news they'll look at the satellite and it doesn't look like they're going to come through here this year. So I don't know if that's because of the climate change or the new cell towers that they've been building that are interrupting the way the caribou interact with the ley lines that direct them past here. But it just, nothing seems right. Nothing seems right. So there's just a lot going on in the world, and with me trying to kind of break through the normal baseline of ridiculous bullshit to find time and energy to solve this extra puzzle that's been dropped in my lap. You can see why I was needing some kind of power up, cup of coffee, connection to something greater. There's this so I don't know if you've been paying attention, but where they talk about like threat levels or labels for different zones by color. They got like orange and red and green and yellow and blue, blah blah blah. And if you just take them at face value, whatever, they're just colors. But if you look closer and you make the connection, those are colors of the different chakras and different stages of evolution that those zones are being targeted with. So we're in this constantly fluctuating, I think most of the country is constantly fluctuating right now because of the plague in like yellow, orange, red. And red is like your root chakra, like your lizard brain, your baseline security, fight or flight. Orange is like your mammal brain, your struggle for social dominance. Yellow is actually your solar plexus chakra, which is kind of a more like positive outlook, physical zone where you start to have an awareness of enjoying being in the body. But it's not like the highest connections to yourself or the universe. It's still a very physical realm, and it seems like we've got nothing to look forward to but being classified and treated and targeted and triggered in this kind of vicious circle of the best you can hope for is to not be in pain. But you can probably look forward to a shortage of resources, and you can probably look even further ahead and see it coming, that when we get locked back down and we're stuck again. And you're feeling fight or flight, you're feeling a scarcity of resources, and you're feeling a lack of power, and what are you going to turn to? And the thing is, you don't have to respond to these messages. They're imperatives and directives. Imperative, imperial directives. But you still have a personal sovereignty on your system here. There are things you can do. I've been reaching out to my shaman mentor and been discovering kind of a greater degree of agency without needing to go anywhere, and finding that there's a reason I've been hoarding books for years from the thrift store. And the reasons it turns out that those things are the case are not great. Having all planes grounded or air travel stopped because of a plague, it just kind of, not that I ever flew anyway, I hate fucking planes. There's an example, I'm about to lose battery, of like boiling the frog by degrees. How many people can we cram in how small a space? Just like, name another animal, I guess name another animal of a comparable size as us that is comfortable packing together with that many other strange, like, non-family members of the species and not getting into a terrible fight. We are definitely being conditioned by what, by who, for what reason, all unknowns. A lot of good indicators, but we need to do more research, and we need to connect, like, those of us that are awake and kind of finding each other, whether it's through digital or through whatever real life we have left if we get to leave the house. And either one is okay. Remember that we've got the 1 and the 0 and the 118 names of God, and they're the same thing. We're all in this together, except the ones that aren't, who are working against us, that we're going to stop. And I'm losing light now too, so we're going to call it there. But stay tuned.